Alright, this is Eddie Jackson. Today is February the 23rd. Raymond and Gwen are down, and we're making my mayor's going to try to make y'all a little film today that Raymond and Gwen can bring back. We're going to go around to different spots, family members' homes, and cemeteries and things of interest that might be of interest to y'all. First of all, I wish all of you were here. Sorry that you can't be, but we know how that is. We borrowed this camera. We don't know how successful it's going to be. We know the date is wrong on your screen there, but if you will, just bear with us. We're going to go to a different location, and we'll wind up at the cabin where we're having a little get-together for the family today with Raymond and Gwen as our special hosts, and we wish all of y'all were here. Right now, we're standing in front of Ann's house. Ann is next to the baby girl, Pierce and Ruth Jackson. I'm Eddie Jackson. I'm next to the baby boy. We'll be going over to WC's cabin and let you do some filming up there. I plan on going by Ain't on his home place and let you see it. And I may not get up to Ain't Pearl's. That's a little bit out of range. And I'm planning on going over to Uncle Hilliard's and to Little Hope Cemetery to show you Ma and Pa's grave, and I'd like to go by Faulkner Cemetery where my dad's buried, Pierce Jackson, and film a little over there. And we're just going to do that, try to get as much in as we can today. And so without further ado, I'll cut it off. And the next scene you see will probably be at Candymans cabin. That's where we normally have our family reunions at. And we'll try to make this thing as graceful as we can, but we don't profess to be any kind of camera operators, experts, or professional movie takers, so y'all just bear with us. And we'll do the best we can and hope we'll get something that you'll enjoy. So I'll cut it off now, and I'll talk to you in a few minutes. Thank you. I'll cut it off. Alright, now then we finally made it up to Candymans here. It's a beautiful day. I wish all you people from Texas that don't know anything about trees could really see this morning. It's such a beautiful day out here in the rolling hills. Very unlike the climate that y'all have out there. We're at WC's now. We're filming in front of his house here, and I want to show you a little bit of his castle. He's restored his old mother and daddy's place, and here they are driving up now. Let me just turn around there and get a picture of Candyman and Patty. Hold on just a minute. This is Candyman's home. His castle is next door to his home. And here they are driving up. We may get shot. They wasn't even here when we got here. Let me go out and greet them, tell them what we're doing, and introduce y'all to them.
That's right. So you want to go inside? Want anything inside it?
Yeah, well, we'll go in there and see if the light.
Go on, man.
I don't know how the light will do.
You can get it down to where you can get the real shape of it.
I can zoom in on him. The bell belonged to who?
Frank Jackson. That was Uncle Bob's father.
Your great granddaddy.
It was my daddy's father, see. My daddy was the youngest of the bunch of the second set. I don't know if Uncle Bob was the oldest of the first set or not, but they was half brothers. But that was their Frank Jackson's bell. And I've got his scales on the back porch around the cotton gin.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll just go around there and see what we can find out then.
It's known him, and he run a cotton gin down there at the edge of Benton County. And that was his cotton gin scales.
Now that was Paul Jackson's daddy.
That's right. Which would have been Arthur Jackson's grandfather.
Uh-huh.
But that would be Paul Jackson's daddy.
Paul Jackson's daddy. And they were hanging in a gin where at Cotton Plant? You
Well,
say?
he run a cotton gin down there in the edge of Benton County. You know where Blackwell Church is?
Yeah.
Right down below that, where Uncle Bob and them was born.
Oh, okay.
And Frank Jackson, his father, run a cotton gin down there.
Mm-hmm.
And they were handed down through my daddy, and of course I wound up with them. He gave it to me.
Yeah.
Momo, hush.
Just for everybody to know, we're inside WC and Patty's house now, trying to film a few shots of some of Patty's dogs and some scales that belong to, let's see, that'd be my great granddaddy, wouldn't it?
Yeah, Frank Jackson.
Now
And
there's
It'd be
Uncle
your,
Bob's father.
right. And it'd
Would
be
have
your,
been let's see, would have been
your grandfather too.
my
Yeah.
grandfather.
it'd been your grandfather and my great grandfather.
That's right.
Okay. All right.
And their pictures are in here.
All right. Yeah. Well, we need to get a shot of them if we can.
Now this came out of Aunt Emily's house.
See, Larry and Martha gave me that. That was a lathe, you know, to nail the roof to.
Yeah.
And I got a fellow to plane it, and made me that cabinet out of that. And I got him to make Martha a quilt box, and she showed that to you.
Yeah, I've seen it over there. It's
and,
beautiful,
and
along with this piece here too.
Yeah, and got a
Yeah, this is some of the remaining lumber out of Ma Jackson's old house.
lathe.
The lathe off
Lathe
the. Okay.
on the top.
Okay.
Larry and Martha gave that stuff.
Well, I know this thing's probably not doing justice, and I'm shaking the camera and everything, but it's a beautiful piece of furniture.
The guy that made that, which was Uncle Bob's father.
Now there's a whole lot of stuff.
I don't know how this is recording, but now this is a picture of Frank Jackson. That would be Uncle Arthur's granddaddy,
That's right.
and this
It's
is
Josephine, that's his second wife.
okay.
She is
He's got
not
that little writing all over. First I thought it was kind of silly.
related, but that was his second wife. That was my grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
you know, and just like
I don't have a picture of his first wife.
Texas.
Well, this building's got about 12 rooms, and they're all old logs. I bought probably 15 houses and salvaged the best logs out of them to build this. And we built it over a period of several years, you know.
All right. We're gonna go inside now and try to take some shots inside. There's lumber out of Ma and Paul's house, and like he said, several other houses.
Quilt box, I think it's what you, and Aunt Emily's brother, John Huddleston, made this. And they sold it at the sale they had, and I didn't buy it then because I thought it went too high. But people at the antique store in Ripley bought it, stayed there a year or two, and then suddenly I decided I was just going to buy it. And I negotiated a sale and wound up getting about $100 more than I could have bought it for it at the sale they had. But I wanted it, and I was lucky enough to get it. And this is what it's being used for now. These are old quilts that we've bought it. Different place. I don't know now. Vermel and them gave me one quilt that their mother, what was her name? Well, here, I think that's the one that they made, and Romel gave me one of them. I think that's what it is. That's dirt over there.
Yeah.
That was Ma Jackson's old
A
sewing machine right there.
Yeah.
Now we're inside a, I guess you call this just a bedroom in the old log
Yeah,
cabin, right? And they just got everything in here.
Now this is that.
Yeah, I'll go over that with you.
Okay, do you get that wide plank on the side?
This is just one. That's who Bertha told me, said Uncle John Huddleston made that.
You made that big table in that,
Show them that plank again, WC. I had it cut off there.
With this plank, looks like it's one piece about 16 inches across here.
That had-
My brother John Huddleston built that.
That had to come out of a pretty good sized tree,
Yeah,
didn't it?
I think that's poplar. I mean, that was Candymans pie safe right there.
well now, see, I'd have missed that.
See that old pie safe?
All right, let me turn around here and get it. I want to get a shot of the kitchen. This is the kitchen area. As you can see, there's all kinds of old pots and pans and buckets and stuff, just like you step back in time hundreds of years here. And there's the old wood-fired stove. And everything looks like you could just sit down and eat lunch here. And
Well,
you
that table was
physically
Candymans'
could.
kitchen table
See,
right
it's
there.
got a drawer in it, I pulled that, the
Isn't that
Hudson
something?
and made this.
Isn't that something? All right, I want to turn around here and get a shot of the old cupboard
You know, pie safe.
pie safe. That was Ma Jackson.
That's right.
All right.
I traded Bertha enough floor to floor their back porch for that. She wanted new flooring for her back porch.
Well,
And I went
did
and bought-
Bob go forward?
Yeah, I went and bought the lumber to floor it, and Black Boy and myself floored it. Well, they tore down Star State was still able there. Whenever they tore the house down, it was in good condition. And I've got another room down here that has some more of that furniture in it, another place of hell.
And it's a
These
big one.
rocks are native rocks. They call them phosphate rocks. They were like bar brick. They wouldn't explode from heat, you know.
Mm-hmm. This would be sort of like just a den area in the home, though, wouldn't it?
This was the first room that was built. In this log.
Do you have any idea where these logs came from?
These logs were sawed off the place here. We cut them back here, and Chris Wood sawed these logs. Some of them are 24 feet long, and that's as long as this. That's as long as his mill was sawed, 24 feet.
Mm-hmm.
And that ceiling came from Florida, Mississippi. It's Pecky cypress, you see.
It's what kind of cypress?
Pecky cypress. That dead cypress tree to lay down in sloughs and them old
Oh, yeah.
worms eat it out, you know.
Yeah.
But they put it in the fanciest of bars and stuff now.
Mhm.
It's really expensive lumber.
Mm-hmm.
Now this, I don't know if they figured up now, but you see these seashells in this end? These rocks are native to this land because I got them out of the base of the fireplace where we used to live over here north of the highway.
Mm-hmm.
Look at those seashells.
Yeah,
So
I
this,
can see them in there. I don't know if the camera will show it.
this area here was at one time underwater.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, when they built 45 Highway over there, you know, all those shark
Oh,
teeth
yeah.
they found over there?
Well, that Tennessee Tom too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm very familiar with that. They're just a collection of all kinds of farm tools over there, isn't it?
Where'd you get the bird at?
What's that?
Your bird.
Oh, that Pride House down there, right above where Uncle Bob and Benton County, right below Blackwell Church, they were going to observe.
Mm-hmm.
These came out of a Dr. McGowan's house in Benton County. They're 16 inches from there to that, hewed down to 4 inches all the way around on all four sides. That came out of some tree, didn't it?
It sure did. Well, all those are probably native to this country too. There's all growed here, I'm sure, don't
yeah,
you?
Benton County.
Now,
Yeah.
that little room back there, you've got quite a bit of animals.
Yeah, that's what we're going now.
Oh, well, I opened up that other.
Big
door
arrow
then
tip.
the other
It
night.
sure is.
Yeah.
Where do you know the history behind that, where it came from or anything?
I can remind you.
I bought some officers
Oh.
don't really know, but I told
Still a nice arrowhead.
I told the grandsons, I said, them old Indians around here, they shoot a guy there, they kill him grave there. And here's the last fierce wooden bell.
Yeah. Oh, hewed out, didn't it?
I want to turn my corn on so we can eat.
That's my last picture with a little girl there. She run out of her clothes. But she didn't want that old boy to cut her a piece out of apple.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy.
She's an innocent.
All right, who's the big watermelon farmer here?
That's me.
Is
I
that you?
actually grew those watermelons.
What'd that sucker weigh?
110 pounds, see?
Boy,
In 1980, right across over there.
is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see it, you now.
Look in there, WC,
There's an old cotton patch right there from
Yeah.
hundreds of years ago.
Well, back in the 30s, they did it right here,
Yeah.
in this area. And sold that ship rope. That was the only decent piece of furniture my mother ever owned. To a Mr. Dixon over here, and I was doing his income tax, and he brought me my grandmother's picture, and I'll show you that now in a minute, and said he bought this. Well, I told him, you know, for some amount of reason I'd like to have it, and he said, well, I'll just give it to you. Darn, the mess around didn't even have a truck to go get it. He died a year or so. I jumped his son about buying it, Bobby. Oh, he said we use it, this, that, and the other, you know. I didn't tell no man to give it to me. But anyhow, since Christmas this year, he called Pat one day and said he knew I wanted it. And he just give it to me. He had moved from Memphis to Cherokee, Alabama, and said Bill, you know, my son had helped get his mother in the nursing home. And he just give it to us. And Bill and Linda went up to Cherokee and got it. I just got it home the other day. And when we tore down the house to start building this, that was one of my old shoes. I know it was mine because I cut that out to put it on a slingshot, you know, where that leather you put rock in. I know it was mine. And these little old shoes belonged to one of my sisters, Agnes or Hazel, one. And if this got that, we're gonna get it to me, and I had it framed. He found it in that old ship road.
I'm not sure I'm getting focused on it good. I'll be sure. Yeah. All right, now this is a picture of the same.
Same couple that we had down yonder, Frank and Josephine Jackson.
This is probably just earlier pictures, don't you imagine? They look.
Well, if you'll notice, they're just in different frames and how as big as those are. I don't really know. There couldn't have been too much difference in the time because he wasn't married to the old. Put that ham gravy in it.
Yeah.
Now, Ed, here's some stuff that was, this was her churn. Can you get it from there?
No, I got to move around. I know I'm shaking this camera a lot.
This was their clothespin bag, and that was her churn. And
I have used that old turn, and I remember that too, sitting out on the back porch all them years.
I don't know if I got anything else here.
Now, didn't the lumber out of this come out of their
All
barn?
of this lumber came out of that barn.
Yeah.
That barn they tore down. All this lumber, see how weathered it is?
Right.
Yeah, I wouldn't take
Came out
that.
of Paul's old barn over
Yeah,
there.
that's right.
Yeah, I remember when this room was built on, and I remember that the lumber came out of
That's right.
Ma and Paul's old barn.
And I guess this was another one of her bowls that looks like it,
Yeah.
but I didn't have any. Don't know if I wound up with. And that was a table, let me see. Yeah, that was a table that I got at that sale that day.
That's one that you sit out there on the back porch, isn't it, around the old cistern out there? I remember that.
Yeah.
Well, I was
About
little.
that cistern, I've got a thing that I'll show you when it's on the back. Before the padded coat hangers, they wrapped these.
They
to keep
padded them
rust-
some, didn't
Yeah, to keep rust from rusting their clothes. Sure did.
Old mule harness hanging up there.
Yeah, that wasn't there, but I'll show you some stuff.
That's well, I guess that's what is that, a planter there on
That's
the
a
right?
planter,
Other than be a fertilizer distributor, I guess, wouldn't it, probably? Or,
Yeah, I think it is.
yeah.
And this was, they called that a sweet potato plow. See how those wings, you can
Yeah.
push them out? And that one over there, see it had that wood thing?
Mm-hmm.
They planted, when they'd open to plant cotton, that's when they had to drop cotton by hand. They didn't have a planter.
Mm-hmm.
And they used that. Now this Uncle Bob was, well, he was a veterinarian. And this was his saddlebags, his ropes, and everything was in there
Mm-hmm.
when he would have to throw a horse, tie around the feet
Mm-hmm.
to the doctor. That was his saddlebags there. And this was a thing that Jim, your brother Jim, told me that was what they call a blinder for a bull. They couldn't keep him up. And theoretically, that blinder was going to keep him up, so he put it on one. They put it on a bull, and he run, give a distress call, run plumb through the back pasture fence of every cow after, and said went plumb to Jewel Dixon before they ever got him caught. So that,
That's an old corn sheller right there. I sure do hope this camera's picking this up.
that's an old pea thresher. I bought
Oh, is
that
that
in
what-
Kentucky.
Oh,
I've
that
got a
was a corn
sheller
sheller.
somewhere. That was the top off his sister right there. He said that if he'd have realized that there's that much good furniture, lumber in that, it'd never let it gotten away.
Yeah.
And Hollis Wingdon gave me that thing, that goes to the smokehouse. It hang hams of meat in
Right.
that.
All right, that old thing right there came out of their smokehouse, didn't it?
That came
That's
out
what
of,
we used to hang meat on. I can remember when we done that when I was a kid.
smokehouse. And I left it just exactly like it was. I
Mhm.
didn't do nothing to it. Old nails, no bed,
Mhm.
or everything. And this, I don't know what it's sand in there. I don't know what it used for. It looks like
That's what you used to put them old summer sausage in.
I guess it was, it feels like sand in
Mm-hmm.
there, you know.
It may be. But
And let me see, now there's nothing out there.
there is your modern day bathroom minus 100 years.
And I'll show you inside. That black boy that works up at Dover Elevator Company.
For all you grandkids that have never seen one of these,
See, he's got a his and hers on that, you
Yeah.
see.
this is your modern bathroom minus 100 years.
It says suggestion, use red cup first, and then use a white cup.
This right here is just an outlook of the back side of the Candyman's castle right here. And let me see, I don't think I can get it all in one frame. The sun's coming right in on our face. But this is where we have all of our family reunions at. Have for the last, what, 20 years, WC? And this is where we cook all the fish for the kindred and neighbors and friends, and love to have all y'all out if you can ever get a chance to get this way in June, whenever.
And they can
That's where the hard work part of the reunions and stuff takes place.
That's where they, prepare the food, the fish and everything right here.
Yeah.
Chicken, whatever. She said there was something upstairs. I forgot what she said. It thought I got it. Oh yeah, I want to show you this. You see this floor, and that came out of that's just what they call a living room of Candymans. And I got that Mr. Carpenter to play me some of that and see that cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
That's out of this floor, this right here, this looks like
Mhm.
that left over. And he, I'll show you on that.
I'm getting me too.
He asked me, he said, do you want me to fill these? See, after you painted it, it looked like, well, it was powder, folks, Peter, what it was, it looked like it's beading, you know?
Mm-hmm.
He said, do you want me to fill over? I said, no, leave it exactly like it is.
Well, it's
I
pretty.
think it looks, but that came out of this floor, and I had enough of it left over, to build this.
That's your old native pine to this area, ain't
Yeah,
it?
see?
Mm-hmm.
All that stuff is, the grains are extremely fine. It's slow growing.
We're going upstairs now.
See, there's some of those
Yeah.
planks are 22 inches wide.
Mm.
And what did she tell me was up here?
Something about the old feather bed, the cot. Yonder it is. I see it in that little off to the side, WC.
But I didn't really buy that cot that she thought I did. This must be a feather bed over here. What's on, that's not a feather bed on there.
Is that the old feather bed there?
I believe it is.
Yeah, that's it.
See,
Yeah,
the old chicken.
yeah.
Feather bed that me and them had.
You know, I can remember when I was just a little bitty boy, and Ma was making quilts.
Yeah.
We went out there and picked some cotton between the house and the barn. Picked the seed out of it out there on the back porch, me and Ma and Aunt Bertha. She spun that, took them old cards, you know, and rolled that cotton into balls or whatever you call it. And then she worked it up on an old spinning wheel.
I sure know spinning wheel. It wasn't theirs now.
I think Betty Cavendish has got Ma's old
Might
spinning
have.
wheel. I believe she has, I'm not sure.
Have one. Now this in here is a little half bath that we got up here. It's just
Yeah.
a commode and wash basin, but the dogs use.
When you got fun. All right, for those of you that, sorry about that delay, our batteries run out of juice up at WC, and we come and got a fresh one now over that. Ann brought it to me, and we're filming over at Mother and Daddy's house now. This is Pierce Jackson and Ruth Jackson's place, where all of us was raised. This is home to the whole bunch right here. For the ones of you that hadn't never been here, I will give you a shot of Mother and Daddy's homes in the background here. We're over on their little farm west of Faulkner, Mississippi. It's the garden spot of the world happens to be for me because this is where everything begins and where it'll end someday. But things hadn't changed a whole lot except the farmland that we used to know. We've set it out in pines because farming is no longer a thriving industry around here. Just can't hardly make a living on a 62-acre farm and feed, raise a bunch of kids nowadays, so factory work sort of took over. I'm going to shoot around the surroundings here and let you see what used to be here more or less, and we'll zoom around and I'll run on up the road. Martha and Larry's built a new home where Ma and Pa Jackson's old place used to be, and I'll show that to you. And then we're going to leave here and go up to Little Hope Cemetery, so I'll shoot just a little bit of footage here for you and then we'll move on.
All right, this is standing in the middle of the road looking up towards Aunt Bertha's old house. And as all the older ones that used to be out here can see, we've got something down here now that we didn't used to be a dream. We've got a paved road down through here now. This used to be the farmland across the house, across the road from Mother's house, and it's been set out in pines now. They're about 15 years old. A little garden spot. Mother still thinks she's got to have the garden, such as that. And it's just basically pine land now. And uh-oh, didn't mean to kick the camera. And that's looking down the road coming to Mama's. I'm gonna move the camera a little bit and show you the old barn and stuff like that that's still left. Of course, it's in somewhat of a dilapidated condition now, but that was the old barn on the right, an old chicken house. We used to raise brooder chickens a long time ago when I was a little boy. I'll see if I can zoom in here and bring it in a little closer. But this is just home, like West Texas is to y'all. This is home to all of us. And all grew up here. All had a big time. And most of us are raising our families within a small area or surrounding this place. So this is just near and dear to us. Alright, that's about enough of that. I'm sure it's getting a little boring at this point, so we'll shut her down and move up the road about 100 yards. I don't know whether you can see it through the trees yonder or not, but that's Ma Jackson's old place. Martha and Larry's built him a new home there about 5 years ago, and it's quite a beautiful place. So I'll shut her off and we'll talk to you in a few minutes. Well, we've come up the road now from Mother's house, and let me see if I can get everything in focus here. Now, this is Martha and Larry's home. It's about 3 years old, coming 4, something like that. This is built on a location where Ma and Pa Jackson raised their family. The old house, there's Martha waving at the door and everything. So Raymond and Gwen, they've just got out and we're fixing to go up to the cabin, build a cabin for the little get-together and everything. Now the old barn used to sit out there just to the right of this building you're looking at. If you'll see the big pecan tree on the right, that's where the old barn used to sit. For the ones of you that's old enough to remember. And as we move on around to the right a little bit, you can see the field. This used to be a cotton patch between Ma Jackson's and Daddy's house. And then you can see back down towards Mother's now. That's where we was raised at. Little scope of woods that used to be over here, still here. Everything's about the same. I know to some of you this don't make a lot of sense, but the trees and everything it's in February. You got to take that into account, that no leaves and such as that on, other than the pines and that kind of thing. But it'll be quite beautiful here in about another 2 or 3 months. Alright, I'm fixing to close down now, and the next shot you see, we're going up to Little Hope Cemetery where Ma and Pa Jackson's buried, and Aunt Berthy and Uncle Hilliard, Aunt Ida, and all that, and then I'll be back on there in a little bit. But I was driving by the lake. I couldn't help but stop and take a picture. Y'all just have to see how beautiful this is. If you come down, we'll take you fishing down here sometime. This is the lake. It's right up from Martha and Larry's house. It was part of Daddy's land at one time. It's now, it used to be a cotton patch. It's now a government watershed lake. Probably some 75, close to 75 acre lake. Stocked with catfish, bass, brim for those of you that like to fish. We've had some real good times here. Planning on having some real good more times too. But it's you can see the pines in the background yonder over the levee of the lake. That's part of the farmland that's been converted into pine timberland. And for those of you that love to fish, this is the place. It is real exciting here at times. As you can see, the water level's up pretty high right now because we've had some recently heavy rains last week. We got a little work to do to get up driftwood and such as that, as you can see, that's drifted in on the shore. We'll have a piling up and a burning one of these days over here. Well, this just happened to be on the way, and I thought I'd stop and film it. Now and then we're moving on to other things. Talk to you. Well, as you can see, we've finally made it to Little Hope Church. This is in the same community. It's over close to Uncle Hilliard's house. It's where Ma and Pa Jackson, I guess you could say about all of our ancestors is buried at. I'll try to ease around here and not make y'all too dizzy. I'm trying to hand hold the camera. And this is Ma and Pa Jackson. This is Aunt Berthy's grave. Let me move around just a little, if you'll bear with me. This is Uncle Hilliard's grave. And this is Aunt Ida. you can see, this is quite an old and relatively large cemetery. There's graves that date back to pre-Civil War. A bunch of old Civil War graves up here. This is a tombstone of Uncle Ellis. There's even old unmarked graves up here back in, I guess you'd say, Indian days. WC can tell you a lot more about this than I can. And there's one grave up here in particular that I want to go and show you, that where we had a dedication some years back that was our great-great-grandfather, or I think it was, that got killed in the Battle of Vicksburg, in Vicksburg, Mississippi during the Civil War. His body was never recovered, but through records of the daughters of the Civil War veterans, they found where he had died in the Battle of Vicksburg. And I think it was in around 1992, 93, somewhere in that era of time, they had a dedication ceremony up here, and daughters of the Confederacy had a tomb erected, a monument erected to him, and he was buried, as I understand it, in an unmarked grave during the Battle of Vicksburg. As Mr. Morgan Jackson, he and his brothers are the immediate descendants of the whole bunch of us. There was two bunches of Jacksons. Mr. Morgan, and he had a brother, I can't remember his name, that moved here from, I believe, South Carolina, and raised their families. And Mr. Trammell Jackson and that bunch of Jacksons was Mr. Morgan's brother's children, and we are descendants from Mr. Morgan Jackson. Down through the years, I don't know exactly how all of it goes, but they had a celebration up here, and it was real moving. I guess you would have had to have been here, but it made me extremely proud, and as I'm sure it would you, to have been a part of it. But this is quite a peaceful place. I'm going to close from here for now, and I'll go over and shoot a little footage of Uncle Hilliard's home place, and we'll try to get Lonette, who is Bud and Bobby's daughter, and Bud and Bobby's house, and maybe Laura's, a little of their house and everything, and let y'all just sort of see some of your kinfolks' home places. So I'll close for now, and I'll pick back up in a few minutes. Now this is Uncle Hilliard and Aunt Ida's home place. Merle and Marie still live here. They were going to go to the reunion. Dad just talked with them. They're both sort of sick, been sick with colds and stuff like that, and so Dad's sort of afraid to make it today, but that's where Uncle Hilliard raised his family. Things haven't changed a whole lot for the ones of you that have ever been out here before. Everything's about like it's been since I was a little boy anyway. Uncle Hilliard always kept everything just neat and clean, and it's still that way. It'll always be that way, I'm sure. But I'll zoom around here and try not to make y'all too dizzy. I'm sure this is a little boring to the ones of you that haven't been here, but right across that field over there is where Aunt Ida was raised. And I don't know whose cattle these are now, but they've been cattle here all my life, and I'll soon be 50 years old, so things look just like they did when I was a kid. Seems like the older you get, the more things stay the same. But they're part of you folks. Well, I'm going to shut down now, and I don't know where I'll open back up. Maybe up to the cabin where they're all already up there. I'm trying to do too much with too little time, and time's catching up with me. It's time I was up there. It's 1 o'clock now, a little later, so I was supposed to have been there at 1, so that tells you I'm late. So I'll catch you when I get to the cabin. We're going to have to do this on the move because we're bad running short of time. There's Bud and Bobby's house. All right. Let me turn it around. I know this is making everybody dizzy. It's got to because it is me. We're coming up to a new Little Hope crossing. And for the ones of you that knows where Little Hope crossing is, it's right down the road from Bud and Bobby's house, right up from Long Hilliard Dams. And we're headed through the thicket up here to the cabin where we're having a little get together for Raymond and Gwen, and a whole bunch of folks supposed to be up there, some of your cousins and this, that, and the other. So that's where we're headed from here. So I'll sign off for right now. Be back with you in a few minutes. All right, we finally made it to the cabin. This is an assortment of you friends, cousins, and whatever. This is Bill's cabin, Bill being my brother. The ones of you that don't know, it's just kind of a hunting lodge that he rents out, and we have our little family gatherings and this, that, and the other up here. Looks like everybody's into eating already, but this is just sort of out in the woods down from his house. Nice place to gather. And well, there's I believe I see WC coming out. Well, it may not be, I don't know. Anyway, we'll pick it up later. I'm gonna cut off for right now. Jackson Eatons, not unlike the Texas Eatons, just more of the same. Different folks. I guess y'all might recognize that guy right there. He hadn't even seen me yet. But anyway, just a big get together. I'll try to get around to naming all these folks one day. That good looking woman standing right yonder ain't on me. She's the last one left. She's a sweet old girl. All the rest of this is grand-youngins, nieces, nephews, brother-in-laws. There's 2 of them right in line right now. Just a whole bunch of all of them. I'm going to dispense for this a little bit. We'll get around some introductions and stuff later. Matter of fact, I'm going to get in line before they eat it all. It's running.
Are you in there, Ed? Are you in there?
He's
Jason, you want how you want some chicken dressing?
I stood there and scraped that out and raked it up. I didn't realize.
Well, I'm here. I was trying to get him to eat.
Good, we enjoyed it so much.
I was behind him or he was behind me the other day.
That's mine.
That's the